Good afternoon, everyone. You are looking at our Fusion 2 rocket standing at Pad 01B at the National Space Center in Eurasia. We're currently just under 9 minutes away from our targeted liftoff time. This afternoon, we have an instantaneous launch window at 9 p.m. British Summer Time. We're only carrying one spacecraft today, but it is massive. It'll be the second heaviest payload we've ever carried, and it will be the heaviest payload we've sent to Luna. We've made some modifications to today's vehicle in order to support the flight. Due to the weight of the payload, we've added an expanding nozzle to increase our burn efficiency during the second stage phase of flight. You'll get to see that in action during stage separation. We've also had to update our pad systems to better cope with these heavier payloads and stricter mission requirements. Another exciting thing to note: the first stage supporting today's flight has flown twice before. This makes it the first time a first stage will be flying for its third time. The booster has previously flown the LunaRock-1 mission and MachCloud M1. Now it may look just a little different from its previous mission, and that's because we've opted to start flying our first stages with a new thermal protection paint, which will hopefully eliminate damage seen to the paint on previous missions. Flying on Fusion 2 today is the Proxima 1.2 mission. As we stated earlier, it will be the heaviest payload flown to Luna. This is due to the spacecraft requiring methalox as its propellant, which we finished loading at T-20 minutes. Proxima 1.2 was built by MachX Industries, and it is a mashup of two spacecraft designs. This includes hardware which will enable MachX to land droods on Luna in the future. Their mission is to prove all this hardware before taking droods on the actual spacecraft. As we get closer to liftoff, everything continues to look good. We've had no issues with the range or vehicle, and the weather is looking phenomenal. We're scheduled to wrap up propellant loading at T-6 minutes and 30 seconds. After that, we'll begin pressing the vehicle for launch and prepping the launch pad to brace for the force of our 12 airless engines.
Propellant loading complete.
And with that call out, Fusion 2 is now loaded for flight. The vehicle has been loaded with 430 tons of propellant, and the Proxima 1.2 payload has been loaded with 15 tons. Just 3 weeks ago, teams launched the Rideshare 1 mission. This flight was cut short by an anomaly on the second stage, which prevented us from doing an orbit raise maneuver, which was essential for some of the payloads on board. Our teams determined the cause of failure to be a faulty valve in the liquid oxygen side of the airless vac engine, causing a propellant leak which lasted for over 13 hours, and at its maximum, increased velocity of the stage by up to 0.8 meters per second every second. After extensive research of the second stage production line, we came to the conclusion that quality control was not adequately inspecting flight vehicles ahead of launch due to our fast launch cadence, which is required to meet demand. To combat this problem, we have since streamlined and expanded the size of our quality control team in the hopes that less issues creep through onto launch vehicles. As we pass through the 5.5-minute mark, we've just heard the call put for strong back retract. This means our pad is beginning to prepare itself for liftoff, and has moved the main fueling systems away from the rocket. This helps increase the life cycle for our pad systems, which allows us to fly more frequently. You can see that arm moving away from the vehicle on your screen now.
Tank press has started. GSE closeout started.
As we near liftoff, everything is still looking good. We're closing out the pad systems and the tanks are pressurized. Soon we'll hear the call out that the flight computer has been enabled. This'll mean that Fusion 2 has taken control of the count and its systems for launch.
Flight computer enabled.
Go for launch.
T-15. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. Go Proxima. Go Fusion 2. Vehicle pitching downrange.
ELS chamber pressures are nominal.
We're 40 seconds into flight. Fusion 2 is performing nominally and we're making our way into space. Next up will be max Q or maximum aerodynamic pressure. This will be the period of greatest stress on the vehicle's structures during ascent.
Max Q.
We've cleared right through max Q and our systems continue to look great. Coming up in just a minute will be stage separation. We'll see the first stage begin its boost back maneuver, which will put it on path for a landing at LZ1. Meanwhile, the second stage will begin the first of 3 ascent burns using its airless vac engine. And just to note, the airless vac has been modified to have an expanding nozzle, so we'll see that in action today as well.
MECO. Stage separation.
Good nozzle extension. ELS vac ignition.
Booster boost back burn.
And just as expected, the second stage has ignited successfully, and you can see that nozzle extension doing its job. The booster is also now making its way home under the power of 6 of those airless engines.
Fairing separation.
And there go the fairings that were covering the Proxima 1.2 payload.
Boost back shutdown.
Booster is go for landing.
It sounds like we've had a good boost back shutdown. Our first stage will now begin its aerodynamic descent using 4 fins mounted at the top of the vehicle.
ELS vac chamber pressure nominal. SECO.
Nominal parking orbit.
The second stage has now completed its first of 3 burns. The next burn will come up just after the landing of the first stage. That'll put the Proxima 1.2 spacecraft into a low Drew orbit. After that we'll perform a trans-lunar injection burn, but before we get ahead of ourselves, let's watch as the booster continues its descent. For the landing burn, our booster will automatically select the amount of engines it chooses to ignite. This helps increase our landing reliability and targeting accuracy.
Booster is transonic. Landing burn startup. Landing leg deploy. Landing burn shutdown.
Booster has landed.
ELS vac ignition.
We've got a booster on the ground, and a second stage performing its second burn. It sounds like we ignited 10 out of the 12 airless engines for that landing burn, and transferred down to 2 as expected. When this second burn is completed, the second stage will go into a 35-minute coast phase ahead of the TLI burn. Unfortunately, we won't be able to cover that TLI on the webcast, but we'll keep you up to date on the mission.
SECO 2.
Nominal orbital insertion. TLI set to take place in 36 minutes.
And with that nominal orbit callout, we'll be concluding our webcast here. You can stay up to date on the mission on our Twitter profile. Congratulations to the Fusion Space teams on another great mission. And thank you all for joining us today. We hope to see you again in the future for another launch. Have a great day.